Long ago, in a hidden village nestled between towering emerald hills and an ancient, whispering forest, a pair of twins were born under the watchful eyes of both the moon and the sun. Stephen arrived first, just as the moon reached its peak, his first cries echoing through the silent night. 8 hours later, as dawn painted the sky with golden light, Sarah followed. From that moment, the villagers whispered among themselves, speaking of omens and fate. A child of the night and a child of the day. Their souls are bound, but fate will test them. Their parents, Miriam and Elias, were known for their wisdom and kindness. Yet, the birth of their twins brought them both joy and fear. For a prophecy had been spoken long ago by the village elder.
Beware the fruit that glows in the dark. If either child consumes
it, sorrow will claim their souls, and death will bind them forever. The elders' words weighed heavily upon their hearts. Thus, from childhood, Stephen and Sarah were raised under strict warning. No matter what happens, never eat the forbidden fruit. The twins' unmatched beauty. Stephen and Sarah grew to be the very embodiment of youth, their presence radiating an effortless charm that captivated all who met them. Stephen was tall, with deep-set, intelligent eyes that held a spark of curiosity and adventure. He carried himself with an air of quiet confidence, his tousled dark hair adding to his effortlessly cool demeanor. His smile, warm and disarming, had a way of making anyone feel at ease. Whether dressed in simple tunics or something more polished, he exuded a natural grace that made him unforgettable. Sarah, on the other hand, was a vision of youthful elegance. Her bright, expressive eyes sparkled with both mischief and kindness. Whether her golden waves cascaded freely or were tied in a playful ponytail, she held an undeniable presence, a glow that made her seem almost otherworldly. Her smile was radiant and infectious, capable of softening even the sternest of hearts. They were different, yet complementary, like the sun and the moon, night and day, shadow and light. And though they had many admirers, their bond with one another remained stronger than any other relationship they would ever have. But every beautiful tale has a shadow lurking beneath it. The jealous friend. Among Sarah's closest companions was a young woman named Leona. She had grown up beside Sarah, playing under the oak trees, whispering secrets, and making promises of sisterhood. But jealousy is a silent poison. Leona had watched as Sarah became the beloved jewel of the village. She saw how young men admired her, how elders spoke of her beauty and kindness, and how Stephen and Sarah shared a bond that no one could penetrate. Leona, once a devoted friend, now burned with envy. She longed to be the one everyone adored, to stand in Sarah's place, to outshine her. And in the shadows of her heart, an idea took root. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Leona and Sarah sat by the river, their feet dipping into the cool water. "Sarah," Leona began, her voice soft and inviting, "have you ever had a dream so real that you couldn't tell if you were awake?" Sarah laughed, tossing a small pebble into the water. "Of course. I dream of flying, of golden places that don't exist." Leona leaned closer. "Last night, I had a dream about you." Sarah turned, intrigued. "About me?" Leona's lips curled into a knowing smile. "Yes. In my dream, we sat beneath a great tree, and we ate the most beautiful fruit I have ever seen. It glowed, Sarah, like the stars in the night sky." Sarah frowned. "The forbidden fruit." Leona let out a small laugh. "Perhaps. But in my dream, it wasn't cursed. It gave us power, wisdom. I felt invincible." Sarah hesitated. The warning of her parents rang in her mind, but doubt had been planted. Leona saw the hesitation and pressed further. "Maybe the stories are just myths, Sarah. Maybe we are meant to eat the fruit." And though Sarah said nothing, the seed of curiosity had been sown. The dream that wasn't a dream. That night, Sarah lay in bed, restless. Lyanna's words echoed in her ears. And then, she dreamed. She saw herself standing in the forest, beneath a towering tree with silver leaves. Glowing fruit hung low from its branches, pulsing like a heartbeat. A voice, soft, melodic, and ancient, whispered in her ear, "Eat, Sarah. It's only a dream." She reached out. The fruit was warm in her hands, its scent intoxicating, sweet like honey and sunlight. She took a bite. At first, pleasure. A rush of warmth. Then, cold. A deep, aching cold. Her vision blurred. Her heart pounded. The world twisted around her. Sarah gasped, her eyes flew open. But she was not in her bed. She was in the forest. The half-eaten fruit lay beside her. A sickening realization gripped her heart. The dream had been real. The death that broke a soul by dawn, Stephen found her. She was collapsed beneath the ancient oak, her lips stained gold, her skin as pale as the moon. His heart shattered. "Sarah." He fell to his knees, shaking her gently. "Wake up." She weakly opened her eyes, her voice barely a whisper. "Stephen. I thought it was a dream." He gripped her cold hands. "Who gave you the fruit?" A single tear slid down her cheek. "Lyanna." Stephen's chest burned with rage, but grief held him prisoner. Sarah's fingers curled around his. "Don't let go," he clung to her, "but fate is cruel." Her grip loosened. Her breath stilled. And then, she was gone. A broken, anguished cry tore from Stephen's throat, shaking the heavens themselves. The burial of two that night, under a sky filled with silent stars, Stephen did the unthinkable. He dug 2 graves beneath the ancient oak tree. One for Sarah. And one for himself. The villagers pleaded, wept, begged him to stop. But his soul had already crossed into the abyss. With trembling hands, he laid Sarah to rest. And then, he whispered, "You will not be alone." Before the first light of dawn, he lay beside her. And with his final breath, he whispered, "In this life or the next, we are one." The earth swallowed him. The wind carried his words. The cursed lives on Lyanna vanished soon after. Some say the spirits of the twins took their revenge. But the forbidden fruit still grows in the forest, waiting for the next soul foolish enough to taste it. And on the night of their birthday, if you listen closely, you will hear Stephen's voice in the wind, "In this life or the next, we are one." Moral of the story: beware of jealousy, for it destroys more than it envies. Beware of temptation, for not all fruits bring sweetness. And most of all, cherish those who love you, for once lost, they may never return. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting stories if you have not done that.